Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and here we go. This is it, the top 20 through 1, top 20 of my top 100 games of all time, at least right now at this snapshot in time, February of 2024. But before I jump into the video, a quick call out. I had mentioned this on the channel previously. Peter and Mai's most recent game design, Flame and Fang. This is our adventure deck building, awesome card game. We are closing, I think, as of this video airing in just a few days, your final chance to order the game on GameFound before we finally go into production and ship the game on. We have no idea if we'll have any retail future for this game or if it'll have another crowdfunding campaign. So if you want it, now's the time to act. That is, again, Flame and Fang on GameFound. I'll have a link in the video description. But enough of that self-serving stuff. Let's get into the top 20 of all time for me. The first at number 20 is probably my favorite war game of all time. This is a competitive-only card-driven game, Combat Commander. This is a squad level game, has a lot of stuff that it took from Advanced Squad Leader and those kind of things. But yeah, it's a card driven. It uses cards for events and crazy happenings. It uses cards for opportunity fire. You have to like get groups together and combine your fire. It doesn't have tanks. It doesn't have almost any of those things except for infantry combat. But it's the best at what it does, at least in my opinion. I do want to say I did a preview of this one, Firefight Tactical, I think it's called. That one has so much of like the Combat Commander DNA in it, but it's a little bit easier to play and it has a solo mode. So excited for that one. But until that one is done and I can, play it enough to fully compare the two, Combat Commander is going to be my number 20. Then at number 19, we've got what I guess you would call my favorite Euro of all time right now, which is Lost Ruins of Arnak. I love this one for competitive. They had solo out of the core box, which was fine, but now with the Missing Expedition, whatever it's called, they have a solo and two-player cooperative play, which works great. I just adore this one. I like deck building, as you've already seen previously in the list, and this one has great deck building. I like the combination of deck building and worker placement. I like the theme. I like the art. I love the expansions they've done. I like the variety in the characters with the expedition leaders. I just think this is a great one. Again, my favorite Euro currently, that's number 19, Lost Ruins of Arnak. Then my number 18 is one that I'm sure will surprise no one being on the list. This is Too Many Bones from Chip Theory Games. You've already seen that I love tactical skirmish games. I like role-playing games with like leveling up and such. This has really cool variety in the gear locks. It has great variety in the enemies. The expansion content, again, they've come out with, although it is very expensive to get all of it, is awesome for like the scenario variety, the little immersion story you get, trying out that diverse gear locks. And yes, there are complaints that I think Elder Scrolls might fix from what I've played of it, and I kind of expect maybe Elder Scrolls to replace this on my list, because I do kind of like how they're doing leveling up and skill dice and such, but still Too Many Bones is definitely a favorite of mine that I've had tons of awesome hours with, and it's my number 18. Next at number 17, I've said that I like mystery games. I really like escape room games. And my favorite series by far, if it does all of that, is the Unlock series. This is my number 17. This is an app-assisted escape room game where you're solving puzzles laid out through cars and, again, through the app. The app integration is great. The puzzles are great. It's fun enough for my kids to play. It's bite-sized. You can finish a game in an hour, but they're easy to pass around. There's no card destruction. Again, this is my favorite escape room series and, like, riddle series out there easily. That's Unlock, my number 17. Then at number 16, I'm sure you aren't surprised to see this on the list. It's Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. This is a recent one, but I said when I reviewed it that it has become my favorite dungeon crawler currently, and that's still the case as of now. I love the tactical combat in this one. I love the diversity of characters and how easily you can switch them if you get bored. The awesome card powers that give you like dynamic cinematic things every single turn. The variety in missions and maps and tactics. The fun, goofy storyline. It all hits well for me, and this has been a favorite for my kids, which is huge. I'd never really gotten them in any crawlers before. So yeah, that is Tales from the Red Dragon Inn, my number 16. Then for number 15, I guess we still aren't quite done with Check Game Edition. This one is Codenames. I'm going to have a few kind of party light games on the list all the way up here in the top 20s. That's because these are the games that I play the most, that I can bring anywhere and play with anybody and have a consistent blast every single time. So yeah, if you don't like light games and don't think they belong this high on a list, list, I disagree with you. Number 15 is Codenames. I specifically love Codenames Duet most because it is cooperative. 2 players or more will be passing clues back and forth among each other. You can do it with Codenames pictures or with words, and you're trying to give clues that will indicate certain cards but not indicate others. It's simple to teach. It's quick to play. I've played it hundreds of times in the different versions of it, and I just adore it to quickly bring to a party or gathering or wherever. That's Codenames Duet, my number 15. And let's keep the cooperative deduction fun going with my number 14. This is So Clover, which just barely edged out Codenames because recently this has been even easier to bring to gatherings and such. This is one where each player has 4 cards arranged like you see on the screen, and you're trying to create clues that will indicate the 2 words that are next to each other by each leaf of the clover. I don't know what to call it. But yeah, another one that is just an absolute blast every time I play it. Like my mom, my in her 70s, completely non-gamer mom, I bring So Clover to like Thanksgiving, and we all have a good time, and it's just awesome. So yeah, this is my number 14, So Clover. And then my number 13, this I guess is the highest check game edition on the list, although I've had so many. This is Galaxy Trucker. Man, I have such a long history with this game. I got it, this was one I bought early from like Essen before I even knew what Essen was. It got like one of the earliest editions in the US. I adore this game. It is real-time chaotic shipbuilding with tiles, followed by wild, wacky, heartbreaking adventures with cards. It's strategic, but completely crazy because your ship can get blown up and just smashed to smithereens. And yeah, I just adore this. It's also one of my favorite board game app implementations. They did such a good job with that solo app. So yes, this one, you got to go in with the right mindset. You're going to lose and horrible things will happen. You have to be able to laugh about it. So it's not for everybody. I can't bring it to every game night. But yes, Galaxy Trucker is still one of my absolute favorites. Always have a blast playing this one, my number 13. And then my number 12 is Sentinels of the Multiverse. And honestly, I kind of thought this would make it to my top 10, and maybe it should have. Again, I just use Pub Meeple and sort of let the results fall where they may after I rank things. But yeah, I've loved this game since maybe not the original printing, but like the second printing where they fixed some of the rules. And definitely with Definitive Edition, I am now 100% on board with this one. It's not always 100% perfect. Sometimes there's a little bit too much to run, but that's kind of what makes me love it. These diverse heroes, the crazy combinations you can have with villains, the crazy combinations between heroes helping each other out. I just think the card play and like actions and story here are wonderful. And the real evidence of this is that I sold my entire original collection of all the stuff from the old Sentinels, and I have now backed all 3 so far of the new Sentinels crowdfunding campaigns. So I like Sentinels so much, I bought it twice. But yes, that is Sentinels of the Multiverse, specifically the Definitive Edition, my number 12. And my number 11, man, we have a lot of party kind of casual games here. There's another one that's like right there with Codenames and So Clover. They basically all belong together, and that's why they're so close to each other. This is Just One. If you haven't seen it, this is a game where one player is guessing at a time, and every other player sees the word they have to guess, and they write down a clue. But if players write down the same clue when the clues get flipped around, then those clues get taken away and the person won't be able to guess as much. And that's it. It's that simple. And that's why it's maybe my number 1 go-to game. Well, besides one more I'll mention in a little bit. But besides that, my number 1 go-to game for fun, like party, fillers at the beginning of a game night, fillers at the end of a game night, play anywhere, play with anyone. I love it. I'm saying kind of the same things I said with Codenames and So Clover. All these could be interchangeable. They're just excellent. They're my favorites in these genres. That's my number 11, Just One. And then here we go, the top 10, maybe the most boring part of the list because I think a lot of you are going to know a lot of these. But my number 10 to start out is The Crew. This is currently my favorite trick-taking game. That's enough said because I love trick takers, and this is my favorite one. Now, I will note the other one I mentioned earlier on the list, Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard, my favorite 2-player cooperative trick-taking game. But for any count above that, 4 or 5 players, The Crew is my favorite. And specifically, I guess I'd vote for Deep Sea between the two because I like the variety of the tasks in that one instead of them being so dictated by the scenario you're playing. I could take or leave the whole like scenario storyline. We never read that stuff. It seems totally superfluous. But yeah, it's just pure fun. It rewards clever play. It has so much variety. That's something Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard has too. Just what you're doing changes from play to play. And in the genre of trick takers, where usually it's kind of the exact same thing over and over again, which is not a big knock against them. Like I said, trick takers are an absolute favorite genre of me, but the Crew's variety just puts it above the rest of the pack and puts it right into my number 10 spot. And then game number 9 is Root. I've told you how much I like things with asymmetric factions. This is one of the best at that in the business. I also like the strategic play. I like the area control. The bots work pretty well. You know, it's a pretty dang impressive solo mode. Yes, it is a lot to manage, and I certainly do prefer the game multiplayer. And especially now that I bought the, what are they, like the Henchmen or Marauders packs, where you can make the 2-player game more interesting. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, however I can play Root, I want to play Root. I just like messing around with different factions, trying them out, learning them. I bought basically everything for the game, and I just love it. It is my number 9, Root. And then another favorite I talk about quite a lot is my number 8, Spirit Island. Again, asymmetric factions, great solo and cooperative play. This is actually one that, to be totally honest, I kind of sort of prefer true solo. I know a lot of people like the interplay of spirits, and that is amazing, but I like just picking a spirit and going, you know, and just seeing how can I win this way. But the modularity here, like trying out different opponents, raising up the difficulty level, trying out different spirits. I didn't buy the most recent crowdfunding campaigns content because I do have enough. I don't feel like I need to buy everything for every game, but that doesn't change the fact that Spirit Island is an absolute winner. The tough card play, I like the events and the variety they provide. Just an awesome, awesome game. My number 8. And then my number 7 is Paleo. And I'm sorry, I feel like I'm having like an excitement overload here because I love all these games so much. But yeah, Paleo, oh my gosh. Talk about variety, modularity, mixing and matching these scenarios. I love the core mechanic. I talked about this earlier with Isla, of laying out cards and having some idea of what's there, but not quite knowing. But you learn your surroundings, kind of like Seventh Continent. You master your domain. You get stronger, but then you can mix and match things, and it's going to be even crazier. You can add in the extra difficulty modules via the new expansion, or not that new at this point, but the one that like lets you have farming and pet husbandry and just, man, I love this one, the emergent narrative of it. And this is another one that I love solo, but I can also like play with my kids, and it works so well. And the mechanics are straightforward enough that they can enjoy it and enjoy the story with me. So such a great game. Paleo, my number 7. And something very different, quite a bit larger for my number 6, but this is one of my favorite games of all time, easily, War of the Ring. Now, you don't hear me talk about it as much as Colin when he was on the channel. I love Lord of the Rings. I've read the books, all of them, and the Silmarillion and the Hobbit so many times. The movies are among, well, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not the Hobbit trilogy. The Lord of the Rings movies are some of my favorite of all time. This is a theme I adore, and what game? Oh man, I don't know if there's any. What game brings an amazing IP to life like War of the Ring, letting you live out the grand majesty of the story, but also having the focus on leaders and characters and the hunt for the ring and all these events allowing you to try what-if scenarios. And I'm not somebody who plays it enough to like, I don't know, have the balance down so perfectly that I need the expansions to fix things, but I need like to avoid people going for, I don't know, whatever it is, like the Mirkwood line to get victory points too quickly, like whatever. I just play the game and have fun. And yeah, for years, there are a few games that I've respected the design as much as War of the Ring. I do want to say I'm very excited for the new Dune one from CMON, I think. My buddy Jerry got it. I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but same designers, I think, some similar design sensibilities. Dune is another all-time IP for me, specifically like the first 3 books are some of my favorite books of all time. So I do want to play that, but until then, number 6 is going to stay War of the Ring. And number 5, y'all are going to hate me for this. I already had like 3 or 4 party game, like casual games in the top 20. This is number 5, and it's Telestrations. Okay, I don't know what to say. If you don't know this game, it's telephone mixed with illustrations. You draw a picture, you pass it to the next person. They write a sentence about that picture, they pass it to the next person. They try to draw a picture of the sentence they wrote, on and on and on. I have not had more fun and more humor with any gaming kind of party experience than with Telestration. This is one I play in my classroom a lot because you can just pass paper around with 20, 30 people simultaneously. Stop whenever you're ready, whenever you run out of space on the paper. And the hilarity that ensues, it's I don't even know how to explain it unless you play it. I have pictures in picture frames that like my wife drew, like somebody gave her a quote from the Big Lebowski and she drew Jeff Bridges like drinking a white Russian looking just perfect, like pitch perfect. And then somebody like the next person didn't understand it at all and wrote totally the wrong sentence. It was like, scary hippie assault someone. I don't know. It's Glee in a game. I mean, is it even a game? I don't know. You don't like have to score it. Who cares? But it's fun. It's great. It's one of my favorite activities of all time. Number 5, Telestrations. And then getting to number 4, this game, Summoner Wars. This is interesting. This would not have been on the list. This would not have been on the list if I was just thinking of Summoner Wars First Edition, which I did love. I played the heck out of Summoner Wars First Edition, but as many know, the game had some flaws. This, by the way, is a 1v1 skirmish game with very asymmetric factions. That's all card-based. And yeah, so First Edition was great. It was a game I loved. Eventually, I kind of soured on it. We didn't play that much, mainly because Peter beat me too much and I got frustrated. But then I got Second Edition because they have a great online implementation and they have a solo campaign that's like really not fleshed out. Sadly, this is only online. You can play this solo campaign. There's only like one faction. It has fun story. I want them to do way more of it, but clearly they don't think it's the thing they should be focusing on right now. That's fine. But then I bought into Second Edition, and now I'm a member of the friggin' subscription. Like I pay money every 3 months, and they send me packs, and my son and I play this all the time. My favorite tactical skirmish game. I've named some amazing ones in this top 100. This is my favorite one. I love the battling here. I love the card management, the crazy things they do with these factions. It is so much fun just to investigate a new faction and try out new moves and things, and the push and pull, the risk and reward. Do I push my summoner forward? It's like your king in chess. Do I push them forward to blast people? Do I pull them back to safety? How quickly do I burn through my deck to get my champions out? I can't brag about this one enough. I've introduced it to a few people recently, like now Will Brown from The Hungry Gamer. He's playing it all the time. So yeah, Summoner Wars Second Edition has quickly become, it was always a great game, but playing Second Edition and the good rebalancing they've done and all the great factions they have, it is my number 4 game of all time right now. Wow. And then here's what I'm sure a lot of you were like, hey, where is it, Mike? Where is it, Mike? Here it is, number 3, Bullet from Level 99. And I don't care which version you go with, Bullet Heart, Bullet Star, Bullet Smorgasbord. This is awesome. I talked about with Rove in one of the previous videos how much I love like spatial positioning and using limited actions to create combos and things. That's what Bullet's all about. Plus the tension of the bullets falling, the amazingness that the competitive mode is awesome. The solo play against the bosses is awesome. The cooperative play is awesome. You want different characters and things to try out. Every character is different. They all have cool different things to try out, different cards, different abilities. And then you flip them over and it's a friggin' boss that's totally different. It's great. I adore this game. Level 99 has got me by the cojones. And, I just want them to keep on coming out with stuff. I'll keep buying it. This is my number 3, Bullet. And whoa, I know what I'm about to say is going to blow y'all's mind, because this is usually the game I say is my number 1 of all time, and that is Arkham Horror, the card game, and it's number 2. But that doesn't mean it's not amazing. Number 2 is a great spot. And I will say for solo co-op, easily my number 1. Easily my number 1. My number 1 that I'll talk about in a second is not as focused on solo co-op. So, Arkham Horror, the card game. Love the variety in the missions. I don't really like deck construction that much, but I feel like I can easily net deck for this one. And there's not that much construction because you just like do one before a campaign and then keep the same deck for 8 scenarios in a row. I love the storyline. I love the exploration. I love trying out the different campaigns. I've spent over $1,000 on this game. What more can I say? And yeah, this one continues to reward. It gives you so many ways to tackle a mission. Do you want to be sneaky? Do you want to be a fighter? Do you want to be magical? I just adore it. It is, I like the Lovecraft kind of mythos stuff, and this is the best version of that anyone has ever made. There is no better adventure card game. There is no better like general board game adventure game for my taste. Arkham Horror, the card game is it, and it's my number 2. So which game is my number 1? Here it is. It's Exceed Fighting System, also from Level 99. Like I said, Level 99 has gotten me. So I love the idea of fighting games, like fighting video games, but I suck at them. So how about an awesome card game that's more strategic, at least for my mind, than those fighting games and is amazing? How about a game that I have spent countless hours designing solo variants for zero money compensation, just unofficial stuff because I adore it? How about the game that my 11-year-old and I probably played like 10 times in the last week and will probably play 10 more times this week, that I can't stop, that I can't get enough of, that I want to get the next set of? I just want to keep playing more cards. Variety in characters, variety in play, exciting choices, quick play, get to the table like when you have 15, 20 minutes, throw out a game, done. I adore it. It's my number one, y'all. Not for solo co-op, that's Arkham Horror the card game, but for competitive and like the overall game experience, playing with my family, playing and gaming in my life right now. You can't beat Xseed fighting system. And that is it, everybody. That is my number one, my number 20 through 1, my top 100 of all time right now. Crazy thing is, I've already played some games recently and some games are coming that might kick some things out. So this is just a snapshot and it's just my personal taste. If you didn't like some of the ones I said, that's fine. Let me know what your favorites are in the comments. And by the way, if you like extras, we're going to be doing some extra stuff with this. We're going to have a video and podcast where Peter and Jerry, my frequent podcast co-hosts, are going to talk about their top 20 of all time. And then we're going to have a Patreon exclusive video where Peter and Jerry are going to react to my top 20 of all time and make fun of me for all the party games or something. But yes, thanks so much for watching. Again, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you at the next stop.